and welcome to Only a Podcast. Two blokes upside down and many miles from home talk about popular culture and unpopular culture too. Books, music, films, the news, what we had for dinner last night, everything is fair game. We've no idea what we're doing or why, but we're going to do it.
Kia ora, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 17 of Only a Podcast. We're back. How you doing, Captain?
I'm doing all right. Kia ora whānau. I'd just like to say, I just spotted something in the news, a headline, before we get into it, is that apparently, so I read that Justin Bieber is one of many stars sharing personal health struggles on social media. And I don't particularly want to make fun of anyone who chooses to do that because, you know, that's fair enough. But if this is one way for us to become global megastars as well, I'd just like to say my shoulder really bloody hurts at the moment. So so there we go. So that's now got us a few more thousand views and
do you think
and all that.
It's going to affect your world tour, the shoulder problem?
I guess. You know, it may be allowed. You know, I won't be able to lift a bottle of champagne out of the minibar and all that kind of thing.
All
so
that stuff,
you know, it'd be really bad.
Yeah,
it could be terrible. I'd have to get someone else to do it. My staff.
Your staff, your crew. Yeah. I think I've had a bit of back trouble. You know, putting it behind me, as they say. But I don't think I'm going to be selected for the England football squad. Not with this back.
Well, I don't know. We might all get a game after last night's performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get straight into it, shall we? Let's not waste their time. They don't want to hear us going on. No. Just a little bit of admin first, a little bit of housekeeping. We had a very nice tweet from Richard Lyons on Twitter, at Lyons_Richard. He gave us some very nice feedback, so thanks for that, Richard. It's really appreciated. He also recommended a biopic that we should check out, Grace of My Heart, which is based on the life of Carole King. Don't know if you've seen that one, Captain, have you?
I haven't, but I've always sort of, seen the flyers and the trailer and thought, this is okay. So maybe we should find it and dive into it. Yeah,
put that one on the list. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, Richard, thanks for that. Really appreciate your feedback. It's good. Cool. So, in terms of catch-up, I think we've both watched the same TV series, haven't we? Both finished it at roughly the same time. So, I think that's a first. So, that being,
raced into it.
As we were touting in the last episode, Pistol, or is it Pistol FX Pistol? The hashtags are all different.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's the Disney Plus documentary about the Sex Pistols. So, we both watched it. What do you reckon, Captain?
Well, after saying I was initially wary of these things and sometimes it turned out all right in the end, didn't it? There was a massive fuss about actors not looking like who they were playing and that kind of thing, but I have to say, Thomas Brodie Sangster nailed McLaren. Yeah, very good. Anson Boone pretty much nails Lyde, and Sidney Chandler does a good Chrissy. It was great. The casting turned out really good.
I think it's easy to, with something like this, the critics or whatever can be quite precious about that kind of stuff. And I haven't really looked at any reviews. I'm not really interested in any reviews because I really liked it. I just thought it was really entertaining. Whether it was accurate or not, obviously it's one of these things. They've got to do that whole story in 6 episodes, so it's very fast tracked, isn't it? So all happens.
And the lyrics in the script.
I thought it was really good. I totally agree with you about the
clunky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you about the casting and the acting was great, especially Sidney Chandler, as you mentioned, who the American actress who played Chrissie Hynde. Now, I don't know if Chrissie Hynde played such a big part in the story or not, but she certainly plays a big part in this series. And I don't know why that is. Is that kind of to Hollywood it and give us a bit of eye candy? I don't know. I don't know if Danny Boyle would go there or not.
I'm not sure myself that Steve Jones spent quite that much time with her.
No, that's right. She was like a pivotal part of the story. I think we saw more of her than Vivienne Westwood, didn't we? But having said that, it has made me move Chrissie Hynde's book up my to-read list because I need to get. Cool. I don't know if she talks about all that stuff in her book, but I want to read Chrissie Hynde's book now, which came out a couple of years ago, didn't it? And what I'd also like to see, Danny Boyle, if you're listening, or if the chief execs of Disney Plus are listening, which they probably are, I'd like to see a follow-up series, a spin-off, the Chrissie Hynde story. Why not? Because it kind of ended just as she was getting started, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
I mean, she definitely did work in the shop.
Yeah.
She definitely was involved. She played, and I don't think this was gone into too much with the Lord's Prayer. Wasn't she involved with the whilst Sid was sort of around but not in the band? There were various lineups mooted with the Bromley folks, and
I think you might be right. Yeah,
they were all trying to get something together, but it did work out for her okay in the end. I was re-listening to the Pretenders debut album.
It's a
this
belter,
week.
Isn't it?
It's what a stormer from
album.
Beginning to end.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
We didn't see or have mention of Viv Albertine of the Slits. I thought she might have played a part in this series because, having read her books, I think she was quite in with Sid, wasn't she? At one point, and John Lydon, I think she had a.
Maybe that's more of a Clash tale.
Maybe,
perhaps,
the Mick Jones thing, or she didn't give permission. Maybe, who knows?
I did read something that said basically the London punks. There are basically about 125 of them. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
generally speaking, for the humongous fuss that everybody created about this back in the day. There wasn't all that many. There wasn't all that many people.
No, the Pistols weren't playing Wembley Arena, were they?
They could pretty much. No, I think pretty much all have been in it. Really. There was a fuss about them back in the day. I just, that it brought it back to me just how hated by people who didn't really know anything about them apart from the name.
Yeah.
They were. They couldn't get a gig at some point. Every church leader in the UK came out and lambasted them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Malcolm loved it. Malcolm was all over that, wasn't he?
I was all over it. That was his reasoning. But I have to say that he was so far all over it. Lydon was the astringent for me, or whatever you want to call it. He was the sour apple, if you like, that made it all good. After he left, I was just not interested in them at all. I remember it sort of degenerated. The Great Rock and Roll Swindle is an album that I never really bothered with.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it so much after he'd gone.
I remember watching the Great Rock and Roll Swindle years and years and years ago when I was probably a teenager, but I don't really remember it apart from the scene with Sid Vicious and the gun. So John Lydon wasn't in the Great Rock and Roll Swindle, am I right?
I think there was. It just overflowed after Winterland and Do you ever feel you've been cheated and that's enough? There was obviously things in the tank that they had, but it wasn't really the Pistols by then. For me. I was very glad to see the Huddersfield Christmas party. A lot of people might not have known much about that, with the Martin's benefit that they played for all their tabloid criticism. That was the one episode which just escaped a lot of people's notices, and it was good to see it in there.
Yeah. So overall, good. I'm going to give that a good 4 stars.
I think so.
I'd like to see 12 episodes though. I think could have got more. Could have gone a bit deeper, but thoroughly entertaining.
Yeah, maybe a bit.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Recommended. I really got much else to report on in terms of what I've been doing. I've got a few up and coming things. You got anything you've been digging?
What I've been doing is we did, having finished that, we then dived into, and still not finished, but Stranger Things 4. It's as gory as hell, basically. This episode, they seem to have gone from the sort of invisible scary things to all too visible scary things.
Okay.
It reminds me an awful lot of the sort of 80s stuff.
Right.
The spam in the cabin things that they were called the Evil Dead. Sam Raimi produced things, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and also the John Carpenter kind of thing, the Thing, or Poltergeist, or something like that. The effects, and obviously that's the era.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's the shtick.
That's where it comes from.
I've only ever seen the first 2 episodes, to be honest. I must get into Stranger Things. I think I'd like it a lot.
It's become a scary thing. I took a teeny spoiler with the breaking bones thing that goes on, and I'm not going to enlarge on that anymore in this series. Yeah, that wouldn't have been allowed anywhere near a cinema.
No.
In our day,
That's
as
right.
it were. But it sort of made me think about things. Are scary things these days less scary? Do special effects make them more scary, or is it like, oh, that's so preposterous? It's not.
It can't be true. Well, conversely to that, I mean, you've got things back in the day that were banned, like The Exorcist and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They were banned, and they're like rated a 15 now, or something. 13 PG or something. So the whole paradigm has shifted, hasn't it? But it's all CGI and what have you nowadays, isn't it? So
I'm gonna persist with it and maybe do a report when we've got to the end with more sort of a little bit more plot, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go into it too far because obviously people are out there still watching it.
Yep.
So
fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
Sound.
Good one. I've got a couple of things coming up which look quite interesting. So a couple of heroes of mine, I suppose you'd call them. A couple of people I admire very much. Graham Coxon being one, the guitarist from Blur and whatnot, has written a memoir which will be entitled Verse Chorus Monster, which is coming out in October. So very much looking forward to that. I'm sure he'll be talking about the Blur days and all that stuff. I'm sure he's got some good stories to tell. So that's coming out in October. And another one, a memoir, if you like, has just come out, I think, just a week or so ago. Pete Doherty. Again, I think might be an interesting read. Again, he's lived a bit of a life. That's called A Likely Lad. Obviously, based on the name of one of the songs, the Libertine songs. So, a couple of new books to look out for.
I'd like to see whether are they ghost written or are they written by the chaps themselves? I can't imagine Pete writing it.
I don't know.
Maybe he did.
Well,
sure.
Don't forget he was a writer before he was a musician. He was, as a schoolboy, he represented Great Britain in the World Poetry Slam or whatever it's called. So
there you go.
He's a very, very clever young man. Young? Is he young? He's not young, is he? Yeah.
I do remember reading Alex James' Blur book. I wasn't quite so impressed with that one, perhaps. I no longer have it, which is probably an indication of how good it was, how good I thought it was. But, hopefully I'd quite like to read the Graham Coxon one.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. I did read there was a Blur biography. It's called 365 Days or something like that it was called. Can't remember who wrote it. It's quite a well-known writer, I think. But I remember that was good. That was a long time ago I read that. But of course, the Blur story continues, doesn't it? That was probably written at 2000 or something. So they've done a lot since.
Yeah.
So that's a couple of books. And I've got a new film I want to talk about. So I don't know if you've got anything you want to squeeze in before I go on about this new film.
Well, I've got a bit of music, but go for your film and we'll go to music after that then.
All right. So there's a new film which is being released in a couple of days' time called Nude Tuesday. It's a New Zealand film. They do every now and again produce a little masterpiece of TV or film down here, and I think this is going to be one of them. Excuse me, this is going to be one of them. So it's the director is Armageddon Ballantyne. I don't know who that is. You might know who that is, Captain. I don't know who she is, but she's a Kiwi. And the writer is Jackie Van Beek, who some of you will recognise if you've ever seen What We Do in the Shadows. If you've never seen What We Do in the Shadows, why haven't you seen What We Do in the Shadows?
Watch it.
And it stars Jemaine Clement, who we all know from Flight of the Conchords. Again, if you haven't seen Flight of the Conchords, why haven't you seen Flight of the Conchords? Go see Flight of the Conchords. And Damon Harriman is in it as well. So the story of this film is a middle-aged couple, and their private life, if you like, has gone a bit off the boil, a bit stale. So they go to this kind of new age retreat to try and rekindle the fire in their relationship. There's a guru there who I believe that's the Jemaine Clement character. But what makes this film a little unique is that the writers wrote a script for it, and the actors had the script, but the actors don't read the script. Okay, they talk in gobbledygook, and if you look it up officially, the language of the movie is gobbledygook. So they literally, if you imagine like how the Minions talk or the Swedish Chef on the Muppet Show, they're just making up these sounds, but they know what they're saying. They know what the emotions are. So it's really scrabbly, it sounds very, most of it sounds very Scandinavian from what I've seen. They just talk like that, and all the actors do that. After the film was finished, they then gave it to a bunch of writers, comedy writers typically, to add the subtitles, not knowing what they were meant to be saying. So it's really clever. The concept is really, really clever.
I get that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
It got 5 stars off The Guardian. And it looks like it's going to be really, really, really good. So I'm off to see that at the weekend. So I'll report back on that next time. But yeah, that's called Nude Tuesday. So look out for that. We'll post a link to the trailer and all that. And I'll just go into one other thing while I'm talking, then I'll let you talk. I found an interesting... Right. Sorry, I'm just going through my list. I found an interesting YouTube channel. I say interesting. It's not very light-hearted. It's quite heavy. But it's called Soft White Underbelly. Okay, and it's a guy called Mark Laita, Laita, an American photographer. But he started doing these interviews. They're just interviews in a studio with various people from all walks of life. So there's drug addicts, sex workers and pimps, homeless people, ex-cons, survivors of abuse, gamblers, the people that kind of fell by the wayside in society, if you like. And he interviews them. And they're quite long. Some of them go for over an hour. And it's brilliant. It's really, really well done. And, from the ones I've seen, the people are really quite candid about their lives and how they ended up being where they are. And obviously there's a backstory, isn't there, for all these people? You don't just go down these roads. So Soft White Underbelly. It's not exactly a laugh, but very interesting. So have a look at that on YouTube. I'll stop now.
Yeah,
I'll have a cup of tea. You carry on.
All right. I shall be out to the cinema myself, and I note that the film that you're seeing is on after the film that I'm seeing.
Ooh.
Cool. Maybe I could just
could be a big day out
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't need a ticket. I'll just
sneak through.
Because there's always seats spare. I'll just stay in and watch the next one.
Buy extra popcorn. That'll pay for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go on, blimey, not half.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much?
I think gram for gram it costs more than gold, doesn't it?
Cinema. Yeah. A Coke out of the gun in the cinema is about $9. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm going to see, because it's part of the Documentary Edge Festival that's on here at the moment, I'm going to see a film called I Get Knocked Down. Yeah, so I do get up again. It's called The Untold Story of Leeds-based anarcho-pop band Chumbawamba, directed in part by the main band member himself, Dunstan Bruce, who, and I read it for you, he is struggling with the fact that the world seems to be going to hell in a handcart. Bruce is angry and frustrated, but how does a retired middle-aged radical get back up again? So I thought that was quite good. I've seen the trailer. We'll put the trailer in the links, and we're off to see that.
Yeah, you sent me the trailer. It looks really good. Yeah, it does.
Unusually for a film these days, it's slightly under 90 minutes away. So, you can watch something good out down into Dominion Road and find some food and drink after it.
Or sneak through next door into Nude Tuesday.
Or just stay there. Yeah. No, it's the same. It's a boutique cinema.
On the same screen.
So same screen. So I just have to find a seat, basically, just in case I'm taking up somebody else's space. But cinemas are never full these days, are they?
No, they're not.
Unless it's an absolute blockbuster.
Yeah, I don't know. When I went to a full cinema, well, I do actually. I think it was the final instalment of Lord of the Rings. That was full.
Oh yeah.
I always remember. So you talk about buying the Coke from the cinema. I remember going to see Titanic at the cinema. Long film. And so I thought, right, I'm going to need some Coke for this. So I bought the large size, the largest one, so it's like a bucket, isn't it? I don't know how much is in there.
Yeah.
I don't know how much is in there, 2 litres or something. And I got to my seat. The film hadn't started yet. I got to my seat, put it down on the floor in front of me, kicked it.
Yeah.
And it went. Yeah. And I don't know where it went. Couldn't find it. But 2 litres of Coke. And the cinema was packed.
Disappeared.
It just disappeared, and some people in the next few rows must have got wet feet because it just went. And that, I think that cost more than my first car. Probably that cup of Coke. So lesson learned. Always get a small these days. Yeah, it would have been bad. There would have been toilet breaks galore.
The longest cinema experience of my life was the original Star Wars trilogy in one go.
Yeah.
Ow! I mean, just sitting down through the third bit. Through Jedi was I was suffering by then. My legs had gone. Basically, wasn't the days of comfortable cinema seats when I went to see that.
Yeah.
Not like they are now, like armchairs now. It's brilliant, but oh dear me, I could barely walk out after I'd seen that. Which was also a bizarre experience because I'd seen the first one. I don't think I'd seen any of the. I don't think I'd seen Empire either. So it was great. It was just like a new experience to watch 2 Star Wars films which I hadn't then seen at that time. I wonder why. I wonder why I never saw Empire Strikes Back on its own.
Yeah.
Anyway, never mind.
It's interesting you say
Happy
that
days.
because I've talked about it before on here about seeing Star Wars in 77. And I never saw, and I was mad about it. I had all the toys and all that stuff. I was sort of 7 or 8 years old. I had all the toys and action figures and the Death Star and all that stuff. But I never saw the next 2 until I think, maybe when they came out on video, or it might have even been, it must be when they came out on video. Probably got them from the local video shop, sort of in the early mid 80s. So I never got to. So I don't know why I didn't go and see them, but
similar experience. Why was that? Why did we not?
I don't know.
know.
Most would argue that Empire Strikes Back is the best one of the original trilogy. Which is probably right in terms of the being a quality film.
Yeah,
I think it was. But
overall plot and all that kind of thing. But we're not complaining.
No, definitely not. I just realised something. We haven't talked about the Beatles in about 4 episodes
at all.
No, I don't think we've even mentioned them. What's going on?
Doing?
Anyway, it's Paul McCartney's birthday in a couple of days' time. 80.
Right.
About that. He's 80.
So what else have we got? I've been listening to a whole raft of albums by one guy. Well, not quite one guy. He's got a band as well now. A chap called Michael Head.
Oh, yeah.
Who in the 80s was in a band called Pale Fountains, and in the 90s was in a band called Shack. Who produced one absolute classic in HMS Fable. That was a brilliant album. And he's had a band called The Strands. And most recently, he goes out as Michael Head and the Red Elastic Band. And for the first time, I read that he's getting some serious chart action, I think, with this studio album, Dear Scott, which is an F. Scott Fitzgerald reference, I believe. But never mind about that. Finally, sort of, been recognised after such a long time. He's been impaired by various substance abuse episodes in the past, so he hasn't always had the continuity of music that he perhaps would have liked to put out. Let's put it that way. But I first realised that he was doing something else when his album Adios Senor Pussycat came out in 2017.
Yeah, I love that album. It's great.
But it's terrific. But now we have the Live in London album, which does what it says on the tin, which seems to be career retrospective, really. So if you're diving into Michael Head's music for the first time, what better way, in fact, to have a look at that, because that does feature songs from his previous bands. But Dear Scott is a good studio album. I don't think it's quite as good as Adios and Your Pussycat, just to split a few hairs. But it's all great stuff, and I've been digging back into other things as well after the Live in London album. And probably one of those is going to be on my best of year list, I think.
Okay.
It's really good, melodic singer-songwriter with a full band. He has a slightly wrecky voice, but in a way that kind of adds to the charm of the whole thing. And his lyrics are sort of very personal, on point kind of thing. And so if that sounds like your kind of thing, folks,
wasn't there
dive in, Will.
Wasn't there quite a big kind of push on social media to help this album up the charts? I kept seeing lots of tweets encouraging me to go listen to it, go stream it, go buy it. So I think all the fans got together and helped it along. But why not? That's what it's all about, right? That's what you got to do these days.
Yeah.
There's no top of the pops
it's
anymore.
not particular, you get those particular artists where the fans are fans.
Yeah.
Capital letters.
Yeah. I know a few people that are absolutely crazy about Michael Hedge, yeah.
Nuts about Michael Hedge. And understandably so, really. And it's great for the lad to get this kind of recognition. So, I've been heavily immersed in Michael Hedge's music this week.
He's from Liverpool, really, right? He is, yeah.
He is. Yep.
Yeah, they've produced a couple of good bands, haven't they, over the years?
Just one or two.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Yep.
Great.
I haven't got around to listening to the new one yet, but I will probably do it this afternoon.
Yeah. So am I going to finish off?
Yeah, I think you've got a little question, haven't you?
I've got a little question for you.
For me?
Off the top of your head. While you're thinking, I can sort of answer my own question, but it's for the folks out there as well to give us a bit of interaction. And it's a question that always comes up every now and again, and I do think about it every time it comes up, which is, if there's one celebrity out there who you'd like to sit down in a pub and have a beer with, or a drink with, or whether they drink or not, where you think, it'd be nice to get together for a cup of tea with those chaps. Who would it be? Now, you see folks on the TV and all that kind of thing, and it's every now and again you just think, oh yeah, seems like a very nice person there. It'd be cool to sort of ask him questions in private, or so I don't know. I could say that I'd quite like to have a drink with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
I was not expecting that.
I don't know why. It just seems just like an amazingly nice chap.
Yeah.
I think if I've ever seen him on the TV being interviewed, you just think, oh, it's great. Yeah. The Rock is brilliant.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But there's another couple of other ones. I would quite like to have a drink with Noel Gallagher, even though he's an irritating prat at best of times. I think you get some quite interesting conversation there.
You would. It's funny how it's kind of turned around, hasn't it? Since that Supersonic Oasis documentary came along, and we all learned actually Noel was the complete arsehole. It wasn't Liam at all. It wasn't. Liam's sound, and he's had to use his own vernacular. I think Noel was the problem. He was a bloody bully, wasn't he? Anyway, that's by the by. That's a good question. I mean, Paul McCartney springs to mind straight away.
Yeah.
And if we're going to ask the fans this question, and we could say also, what questions would you ask them? Because I'd have to, for Paul McCartney, I'd say, not what's it like being Paul McCartney, but do you realise that you're Paul McCartney? Because you've always been Paul McCartney. But do you realise you're Paul McCartney? And do you know what that means? Yeah. Or something like, is there ever a day goes by when you don't hear, think, or say the word Beatles? I wonder if there ever is. I bet there isn't in Paul McCartney's life. Yeah. So, he'd go on the list.
Tired? Does he ever go, oh, God, not again?
Well, yeah. He doesn't seem ever tired of talking about the Beatles, does he? It's done him all right.
Not really.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I think Macca would go on my list. But, it's the more enigmatic people, I guess, isn't it, you'd want to speak to? But yeah, I'll have a think about that. We'll come back to this next episode.
Yeah. I mean, the other one I think about is it's rather New Zealand centric. Is we have a journalist over here, non-New Zealand folks, called John Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
Who's on the TV. He's been on breakfast TV for a while, but he's off there. He's out doing his investigative journalism thing for a time, and he's made some of the great sort of interview moments on New Zealand television in the past. I did see him once in the CAF. I complimented him on something he'd done, but again, it seems like an absolute diamond.
Yeah, he's a dude. Yeah.
I'd love to sit there with Campbell and have a chat. Lovely chat.
Yeah, good question, Captain. Okay, fans. Let us know. Don't all respond at once, because we'll probably bring down the internet, because there's a lot of you.
Flood the internet.
Yeah. You'll jam the switchboard at Only a Podcast head office. So, but yeah, let us know. Yeah, who'd you like to sit and have a beer with, and what would you ask them? Yeah, good one. Yeah. Good one. All right, I reckon we're done enough today, have we?
All good.
Better get back.
Yeah, let's wind up.
Get back to work before they notice.
Yeah.
All right, that's it then. So, stay in touch, everyone. Really appreciate your feedback.
Yeah. Click the likes, give us some retweets,
subscribe,
give us a thumbs up on YouTube if you're a YouTuber.
If you like us, hit thumbs up. If you don't like us, hit thumbs down twice. That's generally the thing. And you know what? We might do a video edition soon as well, because now we're on YouTube. We can kind of easily do that. So you might get to see our lovely faces as well at some point.
Yeah.
So there's a threat. So yeah. All right. Say goodbye, Captain.
Yeah. If you don't give us thumbs up and likes, we'll do a video. Just to punish you.
Yeah. If we can't get 1,000 Twitter followers and 1,000 Instagram followers by the end of the month, we're going to do a video, and you do not want to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Say goodbye, Captain.
All right. Goodbye, Captain.
See you later, folks. Take care. You've been listening to Only a Podcast. If you would like to get in touch and share your feedback and ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Go to onlyapodcast.com, or you can find us at Only a Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, or via our Facebook page. Remember, it's only a podcast.